So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome to Cooking Today. Glad you're here. We are making today our West Rock coffee feature recipe. And what that is we are making these delicious cinnamon sugar French toast sticks with a really creamy, sweet coffee glaze that you can either dunk them into if you want, or just do a little drizzle. I just do it almost like syrup. In place of syrup on my French toast, I'm just doing this delicious little coffee glaze. It is really good. I think you're gonna love this, and it's easy as it can be. It kind of feels like and smells like a Saturday morning, if you ask me. So let me tell you what we've got going on. I have got 8 pieces of Texas toast, and that is so important, and here's why. You need the thickness of the bread. If you were to do this with regular sandwich bread, y'all, they would just be so skinny, they'd be like French fries, and we can't do that. We need them to be good, beefy pieces of bread. And what I've done to kind of get it going is laid out my 8 pieces on a sheet pan lined with, you know, my little cooling rack that I always use. I practiced this episode, and we used the pieces of bread, and when it got down to actually using the rest of the loaf today, all I had was a heel to make my 8 pieces. But you can use it, but that's why this piece looks like this. But you want to lay these out on this sheet pan, and I'm cutting the crust off, and I'm going to show you something really fun to do with those in a minute. We're going to cut the crust off of these, and I'm using a good sharp serrated knife to get down through there, and we're going to save the crusts. If you follow me on Instagram, you know, I'm Unimaze on Instagram. If you follow me on there, you saw what I did with these not too long ago. These little crusts, you're kind of using all your waste. There's no waste. Okay, so we're going to cut all of those off. And the reason I have these on this sheet pan is because you really need them to kind of dry out. So I had these laid out, you know, with their crusts on for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so, which is not long enough. It really can almost lay out for a lot of the day. But sometimes if you're like me and you want to make something like this, you kind of forget to take that step where you need to let your, you know, bread kind of get dried. So this is kind of a quicker version. If you were to be at the grocery and you saw the bread, you know, the bread cart where there's the day-old bread or it's going on sale, you could get that, and it would be great. So basically what we're doing is we're taking fresh Texas toast and we're kind of creating it, creating day-old on it. So I've let it sit at room temperature for just a little bit. I've cut the crust off, and then what I have is my oven preheated to 200 degrees. We're just trying to get some of the moisture out where it feels a little bit stale. We are not toasting it. You don't want it to be toasted. We do want it to just be kind of dried out. So the lowest my oven goes is 200, so that's what I've got it on. And I'm just going to set these in the oven for a little bit while I work on our little coating that's going to go on the outside. Kind of speeds up the process there. And so what I do is I turn the oven on 200. Then as soon as I put it in the oven, I just turn the oven off, because like I said, we don't want it to toast. We just want them to kind of dry out. So let me tell you, this is a little side note that's super fun on these crusts, these little extras. We are going to make croutons. And this is literally something I don't even have to show you. I'm just going to tell you really quick. I just took my knife. This is a terrible knife for this. Let me get my other one real quick. There we go. So I'm just taking my crusts. Look how easy this is. Cutting them into cubes. Do you know what we're making? Any guesses? I'll give y'all a second to think about it. Cutting them into cubes like this, okay? Because wouldn't we hate to waste bread? My mother would just choke me to the ground if I wasted bread. It is her love language, bread is. So watch this. So we've taken all these. What does this look like? Say croutons. Croutons. So look, we've got all these good ends. And so let me, look, I just take my little metal bowl here, take my crumbs, you know, my edges that I've just cubed, and then I'm going to drizzle them with some olive oil. We've made homemade croutons on here before, but in a little bit different method and different reason. Watch this. Drizzle them with olive oil, toss them around, add a little salt, pepper, garlic powder, and toast them on a sheet pan at 375 for maybe 20 minutes. And you have homemade croutons. How about that? No waste on our French toast sticks. When we come back, we're gonna pick up on those. Check our bread. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are making our West Rock Coffee feature recipe. We're making cinnamon sugar French toast sticks with this delicious coffee glaze. So we are intentionally aging and kind of drying out our pieces of our Texas toast in the oven so that we just kind of get some of the moisture off. If you don't do that, then what's going to happen? So it's an important step. What's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of trouble flipping them in the little egg mixture and frying them. They just need to kind of stand up and be just dried out enough, or they're just going to be kind of floppy. You know, we're going to dredge our bread. You know, a pretty classic French toast method, or the only French toast method really, is to dredge it in a little cream and milk mixture with a little egg, vanilla on the outside, and then do a good little skillet fry on it. And so you kind of need them to stand up. Fresh bread is not going to work, so it's important that you take that step that we're doing right now. So that mixture that I was telling you about just now is 3 eggs and a splash of vanilla, and I have a half a cup of whole milk, and I'm going to get just a fork, probably just a fork, and give this a little stir. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to do a little pinch of salt in there. So this is what we're going to coat our bread in first. Ugh. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a show here ever that I haven't added vanilla to something that I haven't just had a fit over it. It smells delicious. Okay. I give that a good little stir with my fork. Okay. And let's set that. Well, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and move it over here to my dredging station. Now, what's important about French toast, and we've done this before ages ago, what's important is you really have to be mindful of your stations and get things in order, because really what you're doing is like an assembly line. You don't want things to be all out of order and all a mess, because you are going to be really hating your life when you have to search and look and spin around and you've got things all out of order. So what the order is on our assembly line is our bread, and then our cream mixture, which is going to move us to our skillet, which is going to move us to our cinnamon sugar coating, and then our sheet pan, okay? And what I've got here just was my cinnamon sugar coating, and this is not anything, you know, nothing surprising. It's cinnamon and sugar. And it is about 3/4 of a cup of sugar with a kind of a heaping teaspoon or so of the cinnamon. Actually, you know what? I was a little bit short on my teaspoon. I'm going to do a little more. I really love that cinnamony bite. Cinnamon's one of my all-time favorite flavors. If you've been around here long, you know I add it to almost everything that's got chocolate in it. I really love it. Okay, so dredging station set. Ready? So behind me, here's my egg. Here's my skillet that I'm going to go ahead and turn on about medium-high heat. And then here is my cinnamon sugar set up, and then my sheet pan. So ready? Here's the spread. And that's how you want to get it going. Then I have a stick of butter. You're going to need a stick of butter for the entire thing, but you want it divided. So I have a half a stick now. The other half we're going to actually we're going to melt it, and it's going to be part of our creamy base that goes in our coffee glaze. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to leave that sitting right there. So we have kind of our stations in order. My skillet is preheating, and I'm just going to grab out my bread, and we're going to cut them in half now that they've kind of dried out. And what I did was I kind of reached in there and felt them. Ooh, I just grabbed a hot pan. That's smart. It's not too hot. It's just 200. Okay, so then what I did while those were in there is I kind of reached in there to feel them. The tops are going to always dry out a little bit, and so I flipped them over. I don't know. They weren't in there very long, y'all. 5 or 6 minutes, maybe. But we have the tiniest, lightest dry out on our pieces of bread, and that's it. So I'm going to pull these off. I cut mine in half so that they're kind of in, I don't know, strips, rectangles, I guess, like this. Okay, like this. But, you know, you could always make something really cute where you went, you know, like triangles or whatever, if you felt like doing it. I feel like these, if you were choosing to officially like dunk them, this is a little bit more hold it in your hand and dunk. But I'll tell you, it's a little bit messy, so I tend to eat these with a fork. But like I said, if you have kids and you wanted to dunk them, then you could, you know, dunk them that way. So all I've done is gotten these dried out, cut in half. I've got my skillet preheated. I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple tablespoons of butter in there. And then when we come back, we're going to get going on it. You are going to love this. This is Cooking Today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
Experience the local sounds, sights, and taste of the Fayetteville Farmers Market.
Do you know the producer behind your food?
What about how far away your food was grown?
Local to us means your food is harvested hours before traveling less than 60 miles to our market.
Enjoy music, chef demos, and special events while you shop for locally grown produce, meats, cheeses, flowers, artisan crafts, fine art, and more.
Visit us Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on the square.
The Fayetteville Farmers Market, 100% local and loved.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We're making cinnamon sugar French toast sticks today with a coffee glaze. Doesn't that sound good? Don't you want to pour yourself a cup of West Rock coffee to go with them? I mean, I would. You're going to need a little good coffee chaser because these are sweet and delicious. So, what we've got going, we have dried out our bread. Okay. I have mixed up our little, I've got my stations ready. You know, that's super important to have our stations ready. I have mixed a little bit of milk and egg and vanilla in one station. I have got butter, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter in my good big nonstick skillet, and then my cinnamon sugar. And so all I want to do is take my pieces of my bread and roll them around in the egg mixture real quick. You do not want to soak these. There are other recipes where you soak the bread a little longer. These are so thin. You do not want to soak them long or they will turn completely into mush. So you really want to get your clean hands in there, give them a roll, let the excess fall off, and go ahead and get them in this hot skillet. The other thing that is important about your skillet and your butter is you really want to get it about medium or so, medium plus a little bit. And you want your butter to have already started to really kind of turn a little bit nutty and brown so that you get a good color on your French toast sticks. Okay, so let's see. I did 8 pieces cut in half, so that's 16. And I'm going to be able to do about 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do one more. This is the beauty of this big 12-inch non-stick skillet. Of course, we have them at Unimaze, like everything else around here. Okay, we're gonna let those brown for just a couple minutes on each side. I prefer a really good golden grilled eggy outside of these. I really like it. So don't underdo it. You really want that little bit of flavor that the darker color gives when you actually get these in your skillet. So then all I'm doing is taking my fork. Oh yes, see how pretty that is? Oh, I love those. Those are my favorite pieces. So I'm kind of remembering what I did in order so I can remember which ones to go to. This side of my skillet gets hotter than the other side. So they're gonna brown a little faster. Beautiful. Beautiful. Here, I'm gonna trade these out. Do y'all ever do that when you know you've got a hot spot? I'm gonna trade that one out and get these over here in the hotter part of my skillet. Oh, they smell so good. That vanilla and that cream, amazing, y'all. It smells so good. Now, this is important. You have to work very quickly. I'm gonna turn my oven back onto 200, okay? Which is basically, we're just kind of making this like warming spot. It's kind of our last landing spot for our French toast. So, what you have to do now is to work quickly. We're gonna keep scooting. I've got my cinnamon sugar. So what I'm gonna do is take off about 4 of these at a time. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the order, so I'm sure everybody has a good cook on them. Good color. Yeah, see, that one got better. And then I'm gonna get them put right over here into my cinnamon sugar and just roll them around a little bit. Give them a little flip. While they're hot, that is important. Because when they're hot is when they're going to kind of soak up and grab on to the cinnamon and the sugar. And then all I'm gonna do is scoot them over here to the sheet pan. And the reason I have the sheet pan over here in the oven preheated is because you wanna keep the ones you've already made warm while you are making the others. Does that make sense? And then that way you can serve them all, you know, nice and delicious and warm all together. Okay, so I'm gonna scoop these off. Don't they look good? Literally, like, really, you should smell it in here. Okay, so there's 8. See how quickly that went? We're gonna put those in. I'm gonna let them sit for just a minute. I'm gonna add the other 2 tablespoons of my butter. Remember, we had our stick. I cut it in half. So 1/2 of it's gonna go for our glaze, and then the remaining 4 tablespoons we're splitting. 2 tablespoons went in first, and now we're gonna do 2 other tablespoons in our skillet. And then all I'm gonna do is the same exact steps. I'm gonna flip those over in my cream, and then, you know, I'm letting my butter get a little bit brown while I'm talking to you. And then I'm gonna flip them over. I'm gonna do all 8 of them at a time in my big skillet. If you cannot do them all at one time in your skillet, then don't worry about it. Just do them in batches of 4s or whatever, because we can keep them warm in the oven. I'm gonna do the second batch. When we come back, we're gonna mix this dunking glaze. You are not gonna believe how good. This is cooking today.
Candy, sponsored by Mars.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are just wrapping up cinnamon sugar French toast sticks, and we're about to make our coffee glaze. Look at these beauties. So look, they're so fun. They're just the right size for kind of picking up and dunking. They are covered in cinnamon sugar. So you know what I just said was, you might just go ahead and get a fork and then just kind of cover them and go for it with your fork. Oh, they're so pretty. They smell so sweet. They're a little bit soft and tender on the inside. They are crispy and buttery and good on the outside. So all we want to do is have our little glaze. And all it is a cup of powdered sugar I already have in here. We have our other half of our stick of butter, unsalted, that we melted and allowed to cool a little bit. Then I have some vanilla going in. I do quite a bit of vanilla, y'all, because it's so good in this. And then we just brewed some really strong West Rock coffee, and I'm using a couple of tablespoons of this as well. So I thought I'll probably just do 2. And then I'll add more to get the consistency that I want, if I want it to, you know, drizzle a little more. Let me just look. Oh, it's the prettiest color. I'm gonna drizzle these on here. You're gonna love this. And then I'm gonna top them with some beautiful blackberries. Look at this. Oh, you don't need much, just a little bit. Top them with our blackberries. Serve it with your West Rock coffee. This is a great little breakfast, y'all. It's sweet and good. It's practically dessert, I'm not gonna lie. All right, isn't that pretty? I'm about to get a fork. Hope you'll try this at home. Love every bite. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company. Kitchenware is provided by Una Mays. Groceries provided by Harps, Hometown Fresh. Online Elements sponsored by Fayetteville Farmers Market.